Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Good morning, everybody. 2 Cents Sports Entertainment. I am Scooby, your host, coming to you with NFL Sunday, December 6th, Week 13. My NFL picks coming up is winding down. We are probably pretty close to the last layoff here. Just behind you. I am in a playoff position in both my leagues, and I'm the top dog in another. So I've got one locked up. I've got two that I'm in position, and I do need some wins though. So hopefully you all are in the same boat. But we are wrapping the season down. Playoff positions are starting to be done. We've got a couple teams that should be able to clinch some spots today, and we're going to go through some picks. It has started off already yet another crazy NFL week. I've never seen anything like it. We've had games ending in pick sixes. We've had games ending in kick sixes. The Ravens-Browns game last week. And then this Packers-Lions game on Thursday. Wow. I had the Packers obviously in this one, and I just don't understand how the Lions just go all Lions. I mean, they were up 20-0. Had the game in hand. Looked like they sacked Aaron Rodgers to end the game, which they did. But these NFL referees, took it upon themselves to call a phantom face mask. It was not a face mask, folks. I've been on boards arguing this point a lot this week. By rule, it was not a face mask in any way, shape, or form. The thumb that grazed the face mask did not change the direction of Aaron Rodgers' head, contrary to what many Packer fans or Packer defenders will try to tell you. And even if it did graze the face mask, it did not grab, grasp, yank, or pull, which is part of the face mask rule. And even if it does grab, as long as the defender releases immediately, it is not to be called. And so even if you want to say it grabbed the face mask and turned his head, which it did not, he let go immediately. And what yanked Rodgers down the weird way was that he had a grasp on his shoulder pad up here. And that's what yanked him in the direction that he yanked in. His head turned that direction by instinct or by his own avail, but it was not a face mask. It was a bad call. But it was a call nonetheless, and I gave Green Bay a no-time play. And I don't know if it was a 60 or 70-yard Hail Mary, and there's no excuse for Detroit Lions defense to leave a guy wide open into the front of the end zone to catch that ball. None. So even if it was a bad call, which I've tried to tell people, even though I'm defending the fact that it was not a call, hey, it was the call nonetheless, and there's still no excuse for the Lions to have blown a 20-point lead at home or to allow that Hail Mary to happen. That's the bottom line. So, say what you will, that just shouldn't happen. But it did. And the Packers get out of there with a win. No one's going to change that. No one's going to take it away from them. And that's that. So with that game, let's move on to this week's picks, week 13 again. First up on the slate, we have The Texans rolling into Buffalo, and I use rolling because that's exactly what the Texans are doing, and I'm going to go with the Texans in this one. The Bills just are not playing very well. Yes, they are at home. It's probably going to be cold, but it's not going to be snowy and blustery, at least that I'm aware of. So I like the way the Texans are playing right now. They really are playing good football. Their defense is looking like the defense that, at least I, and I think most people, expected to see from the beginning of the season. So I'm going to go with the rolling team here, which is the Texans, over the Bills, who just cannot seem to get it going. Now, speaking of two other teams that can't seem to get it going, we've got the Ravens coming to town in South Florida, and we have them coming in to face the Dolphins. The Ravens are just a complete mess because of all the injuries they have. They have, who the heck's on that team anymore? I don't recognize it, But Matt Schaub back there at quarterback, who is always good for a pick six, and he didn't let anybody down last week. Let's hope he has another one this week. The Dolphins are also a mess. They've continued to fire coaches, so they fired another offensive coordinator this week. So I am going to go with the Dolphins, though, against my better judgment. But honestly, it's Matt Schaub and somebody on the Ravens playing. Yes, I do know they got a couple guys, but Kamar Aiken and Javaris Allen going to be running the ball. But it's just such a makeshift unit. I think the Dolphins, have enough. I think Tannehill can have a pretty decent game against that secondary. This is going to be a weird one. I'm picking a lot of weird picks this week. I have the luxury to do that because I did go 11-5 last week, by the way. Overall record 106-69. All right, up next we have the Bengals and the Browns. Oh, the Browns gave up that blocked winning field goal attempt last week for a touchdown to lose the game with also no time left. The Browns being the Browns. That organization is just an utter mess. I mean, yes, I'm sitting here with a Buccaneers stuff on, but I'm sorry. I'd much rather be a Buccaneers sufferer than I would be a Browns sufferer. That's just, I don't know how anybody can be a Browns fan. I just don't get it. It's just a mess. It's just a mess, absolute mess. And I think the Bengals obviously are going to have their way with the Browns today. They're just absolutely putrid. Look for the Bengals to roll today. Next up is a team that has vastly been improving. They are at home today. They got the 49ers coming to town, who are just awful as well. I'm liking the Bears to take down the 49ers today. The Bears are actually, believe it or not, on an outside playoff place, and John Fox has that team playing really, really well. Defensively, as bad as the Bears are, they have been playing better of late. Offensively, they've actually been pretty good. And now that you've got Matt Forte back, mixing, and then you mix in a little Langford, who looks like he's going to be Matt Forte's replacement after the end of the season. They got a double-headed monster there. Cutler's actually been playing very well. Alshon Jeffrey is Alshon Jeffrey. He's going to get his every single game. I would play him today if you have him in fantasy. And then, of course, Bennett is back as well. So all of you Zach Miller guys, you might want to just go ahead and sit him now with Bennett back. So let's go with the Bears today. Also up in the 1 o'clock slate, we have the Jaguars coming to town to face the Titans. I like what the Jaguars have been doing offensively. Defensively, they haven't been awful. They're playing pretty well. I'm going to go with the Jaguars in this one, believe it or not. The Titans just, Mariota just not really quite getting it done. They got no running game whatsoever. It's pretty much the Mariota Delaney Walker show, and I'm okay with Delaney Walker getting fed the ball. Next up on the 1 o'clock slate, we have the Seahawks traveling to Minnesota to face the first place Vikings. That's right, the Vikings are in first place. And I'm going to go with an upset here. Maybe it's not an upset because they actually have a better record. The Vikings are actually a pretty decent football team. Adrian Peterson just running the ball like crazy. And the Seahawks, I'm sorry, folks, the Seahawks are just not that good anymore, and nobody's afraid of them anymore. So I'm going to take the Vikings in what some will call an upset, but technically, actually, they're the favorite. The Vikings are. Next up, you had the shootout, the New York Jets and the New York Giants. A big game in New Jersey. And the Giants are technically the home team. No Revis today for the Jets. The Jets' secondary was bad enough to begin with, and now with Revis out, I look for Eli Manning and that horrible team. They can't seem to take advantage either in the NFC East. The Giants have could not get it done against Washington last week. Take control of that division. But I think that this is going to be a high-scoring event. I like both teams to put up a lot of points today. I like Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brandon Marshall, and Eric Decker to put up some big numbers against this Giants secondary. And I look for Eli Manning, and I think Odell Beckham is going to have a field day because not only is Revis out, but Revis's backup is out. So if Brandon Marshall doesn't have a field day today, Eric Decker is probably going to have a field day today. So choose your poison, but I look for Ryan Fitzpatrick to probably have at least 2 to 3 touchdowns today. And but I'm going to pick the Giants to win this one. And even though I think they're going to give up their fair share of points as well. Next up, we have the Cardinals coming into St. Louis to face the Rams. That Rams defense has just not been getting it done of late. The Cardinals can seem to put up points on anybody. I'm going to go with the Cardinals in this one. And they continue to roll and take control of that division. And the last 1 o'clock game on the slate that I've got to get ready to get out of here and go to, the Falcons come here to town to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who blew an opportunity in Indianapolis last week to get themselves over 500 and in a playoff spot. They just could not stop Dontre Moncrief at the end, and ultimately lost to the Colts. I think the Buccaneers can beat the Falcons, who are on a 4-game losing streak. Since the Falcons started 5-0, they are now putrid 6-5. They are 1-5, 4-game losing streak for the Falcons, who are looking like the Falcons team that I predicted at the beginning of the season when I didn't think that they were going to be all that good. They were much of a fraud those first 5 games. But I'm going with the Falcons today. Like I said last week, it's great that the Bucs were 5-5, and they should have beat the Colts. But it was a winnable game, a game against the backup quarterback, and everything was in position for them to win that game, and they just didn't get it done. And so it's what I said. Let's watch out for the Buccaneers because, yes, they're much improved, and there's no question about that. But they just can't be trusted yet, and they're not good enough. They're just not good enough. They're better, but they're not good enough. And something just tells me with the Falcons on a 4-game losing streak, they still are a little bit more talented than the Buccaneers in some aspects. Unless the Matt Ryan's been a really bad quarterback most of the year. And I'm hoping that continues today. But unfortunately, I just have a bad feeling that Julio Jones is going to torch the Buccaneers again. The first time when the Buccaneers met them this season, although the Buccaneers won, Julio Jones was just doing as he pleased. In that game, they were able to stop Devontae Freeman. Devontae Freeman is back now this week. Can they do it again? I mean, yeah, I certainly hope so. But I just can't trust the Buccaneers right now. I'm hoping I'm wrong. So I do not want to go out there today and be disappointed. 4 o'clock games. We have the Broncos facing the Chargers. I am taking an upset here. I am going to take the Chargers in this one. The Broncos are probably still riding high over that gifted win by the Patriots. A crazy game nonetheless, and I'm going to let them take a step back and get upset by the Chargers. Or just Phillip Rivers is going to find a way to get it done today, somehow, folks. Next up, we have the Chiefs, who are also playing extremely well right now, going into Oakland to face the Raiders, who have not been playing well of late when they were. But I'm going with the Raiders today. That's another one of my surprise picks for today. Next up, and my biggest surprise, my biggest upset for the day, we got the 11-0 Carolina Panthers coming into New Orleans. New Orleans, I have no reason to pick New Orleans, except I'm going to. I'm going to look at Drew Brees bringing home today. They got nothing to play for. Someone's got to take down the Panthers. There's just no way the Panthers go undefeated, right? No way. This is going to be the upset. This is going to be the one. This is where Carolina gets their first loss. Drew Brees is just going to. I have a feeling he's just going to step it up today. Going to get some nice running from Mark Ingram. I think Cam Newton's going to have a field day today. Get him in your lineups, but I just have a feeling that the Saints are going to get it done today. Certainly aren't going to do it on Josh Norman's side, but I just have a feeling. Next up, we got the Eagles and Patriots, also 4 o'clock, 4:25 game. I'm going to look for the Patriots, obviously, to rebound from that loss to the Broncos. I think they're extremely upset. An upset Patriots team is not what you want to face. The Eagles are just an awful defense right now. Danny Amendola is going to be back in the lineup for the Patriots. Yes, they are going to not have Gronk. I don't think Scott Chandler is going to be the full Gronk replacement. I know everybody's big on Scott Chandler this week. He's a different kind of tight end. He's functional and he's decent, but he's not going to get your Gronk numbers if that's what you're hoping for. I look for Danny Amendola to get back in there. He supposedly looked good in practice. Brandon LaFell to get some balls and touches today. But I look for the Patriots at home to rock the Eagles like everybody else has been doing lately. Tonight's game, the 8:30 game, the Colts roll into Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had Seattle on the ropes last week and just couldn't quite get it done. Ben Roethlisberger throwing for over 400 yards. I don't think he's going to need to do that today or tonight, but I think that he can. I think the Steelers take out the Colts tonight. And last but not least, my other pick on Monday night used to be a game worth watching. Cowboys roll into Washington. And I'm going with Washington. Yes, I am. Matt Castle back at quarterback for the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys have finally, although they're mathematically still in it because that division's so bad, I just think this is going to be the final nail in their coffin, going with the team from Washington this week. So that's it, folks. That is my NFL Week 13 picks. I have got to get out to that Buccaneer game. It is running late this morning. I hope everybody has a great Sunday. Give me your picks on this post and let me know what you think. Have a great Sunday, and we'll be on with you again real soon.